But that's not all you can possibly learn. Please pay attention as we look at this very last slide. I just don't want you to get tricked. That's what this last slide is don't get tricked. And let me show you some things that might trick you. Okay, so one of them we've mentioned, but I'm going to specifically say, what if I have 3x squared times 4x to the 5th? Okay, the base is the x. Add those exponents together, x to the power 7. Well, what happens to that 3 and that 4? Well, remember, our commutative property of multiplication, you can just shuffle the order, so we move those next to each other. What's 3 times 4 is 12. Here's where you might feel tricked, but you're not tricked. What if I have 3 squared times 3 to the 5th? What's the base? The base is 3. The base always stays the same. We have the number 3 2 times and the number 3 5 times, so we have that a total of 7 times. Okay? Notice how on our first example, the 3 and the 4 are multiplied together and it changes. That's because it's not the base. But in our second example, this is the base. So because it is the base, it is going to be in our final answer also. 3 stays the same. So don't get tricked by that. Okay, another thing that you might see that might just feel tricky, but it's not. They're not trying to trick you. They being whoever writes whatever questions you do, is how they write multiplication. Sometimes they might write, like here, our example we just did, sometimes they might write the dot. Sometimes they're not going to write the dot. It's because they expect you to remember that sometimes multiplication is invisible. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. This still means the same thing as it did over here. Okay? A third thing they might do to try to trick you, or not try to trick you, maybe they just in their heart felt like writing a question like this. They might throw in some parentheses. Guess what? Parentheses also just mean multiplication. Okay? So adding these parentheses here does not change anything. It still just means, hey, this thing over here, we're going to multiply it by this thing over here. Okay? It's the same thing that the dot meant. It's the same thing that nothing meant. So don't feel tricked. Be like, oh, yeah, that's the same thing. I got that. But the basis of this, the most important thing to remember is when the bases are the same, add the exponents. Okay? So let's just do one more super simple to remind yourselves. Okay, when the bases are the same, add the exponents. Oh, the base is an x, so we're good. What are the exponents? A 6 and an invisible 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. Add the exponents. There you go.